There is a word, silentium, that you use in your novel, A Complicated Kindness. Now, can you tell me a bit about what that word means to you?
I think it sort of implies a silence of, not just of the physical atmosphere, but of one's soul and one's mind. Serious silence.
Well, I mean, I can relate to the word silentium. I'm from a small northern British Columbia town, and I think of, when I read that word, I go, oh yeah, I want to get out since I guess, from the age of 12.
Yeah.
I wanted to escape to wherever the city would be, whatever
Yeah.
the nearest big city.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you had that same desire growing up in Steinbach, Manitoba.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I mean, probably from around the same age, 12. You know, when you start to understand that there's a larger world, and you know, and the city definitely was always a draw. You know, my character, Nomi Nickel in A Complicated Kindness, she sort of does some of the things that I did as a kid, going up to the highest point in this prairie town, which was obviously not very high, but you know, and looking out at the city that's 40 miles down the road, and just dreaming of the possibilities of the, you know, of all the fun and adventure and excitement and scandal and everything that goes on in a city. You know, I mean, this is obviously, you know, a 12-year-old's idea of what goes on in a city, but yeah, I was dying to get out, definitely. I'm plotting my escape from an early age.
With your most recent book, now it's a return to writing from a strong central female figure who feels trapped in a strict Mennonite community.
Yeah, something entirely new there.
Yeah, there's something very new about it in that, you know, as opposed to with A Complicated Kindness, this time it's in Mexico.
Right.
Now the film crew comes to town in this book to make a movie, and the main character, Irma Voth, serves as the translator. Do you ever feel like Irma the translator?
Sometimes. I mean, I think that, yeah, I do feel that I have a role like that, you know, that I can take what I've seen and experienced within the Mennonite community, and I can write about it, you know, honestly, and hopefully intelligently and you know, entertainingly, and but yeah, I think so. I think I mean, there are a lot of people who hate what I write, you know, Mennonites, and some who enjoy it, but I feel like that I do that sometimes, that I take it upon myself to, you know, describe this community in the same way that Irma does, except she twists things a little bit.
Loss of faith is a frequent theme in your books. Now, how have you come to terms with that personally? I ask this because I've had to face that myself. It's not easy. So I still occasionally ask myself, what if they're right and I will burn in hell for all eternity? You know, that safety net to heaven is gone. I mean, so how does that impact you?
Well, I would say that it's not necessarily a loss of faith, but it's a loss, it's not a loss of faith in God or in one's soul or in an afterlife even necessarily. It's loss of faith in a hierarchical structure that connotes, you know, spirituality, but that isn't, that's artificial, that's hypocritical. You know, religious fundamentalism is something that's not remotely God-given or God-like. It's not based on kindness and love and unconditional love. It's based on punishment and guilt and shame and silence and rules and power and authority and all of these negative things. And so my characters, Irma Voth and Nomi Nickel, you know, they would lose their faith in this power structure that they had been brought up in. And then are presented with a challenge in terms of what replaces this, you know, and that's where Irma decides that one's imagination or art or words or whatever it is, and Nomi also in A Complicated Kindness to a certain extent. And that whole thing just really mirrors my own experiences, you know, from leaving this one, I guess, power structure and trying to replace it with something that's, you know, that's kinder, gentler, more beautiful, more artful.
Right. Now, where are we? Here we go. The Flying Troutmans. It's a road trip book, and it features a troubled family on a road trip. And road trips figure pretty frequently in your work, and so is the idea of confinement, such as, you know, growing up in a strict repressive community and trying to run for it. So could you tell me about that, confinement and road trips?
Yeah, road trips to me symbolize complete freedom, beautiful, you know, soul-enriching freedom. I love nothing better than a road trip, and so I had always wanted to write, and I took my family on many, many road trips. In fact, my daughter is planning a road trip, and she's leaving tomorrow for a month with her boyfriend, with her stand-up comedian boyfriend, and they're hitting the road. And so it's just in the family, it's in the blood. And I've always wanted to write about a road trip, but never really knew how, because a complicated kindness, for instance, takes place like in one community, and that's much easier to write about it because you can control. You know who the players are. The stage is set. It's confined, so it's just easier to keep it in your mind as you're writing about it. And a road trip is a little bit unwieldy, and things are changing all the time necessarily, which is the beauty of it in life. But it's just a little bit harder to write about, to pin down because of the ever-changing nature of the road trip.
You don't know what's going to be swung at you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I finally decided that I'm going to do it now. Write about the road trip, or then when I did.
Now, a lot of your books are filled with Canadiana. You mentioned the 45 of Seasons in the Sun, which is the Jacques Brel song. I know you like Jacques Brel, but it's the Terry Jacks version.
Right. I certainly didn't know about Jacques Brel at the time. Only Terry Jacks. But yeah. And
it's an appropriately maudlin
yeah, it is.
song. It was turned into a ridiculous Canadian TV movie. Now, did you? Yeah, don't. You should see it. Don't see it. You should see it. Did you ever play the B-side? Did you ever flip it over and play the B-side?
To put the bone in?
Yeah, put the bone in. It wasn't meant to be played. You know that, right?
No, I didn't. And yes, I did flip it over. I was 9 years old. That was my very first 45. And my older sister, who was 6 years older than me, had given her a little player thing. And and I flipped it over and listened to the song, Put the Bone In. Put the bone in, she asked me again, or something like that.
Yeah.
I was 9. So to me, I just thought, what's
her
this?
doggy's been hit by a car. She just needs a bone for her doggy.
I prefer Seasons in the Sun, I'm so surprised that you know that.
Oh, that's a whole other level of obsession. It's just... I'll tell you about it after. We won't discuss it here and now.
I really want to get that song out of my head now.
It's going to be caught in there forever. So, what's going on now? What are you doing?
Well, I'm just writing another book. That's it. Just laying low, really. Yeah.
Can you give me a hint?
No. I wish I could tell you more, and at some juncture in time, I'm sure I will be able to tell you more.
Well, okay, then we'll just have to leave it at that. And by leaving it at that, I mean leaving everything at that, this whole interview at that.
All right, if that's where we're leaving it, then that's where we're leaving it. That's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, really.
That's good. I'm good. You can leave it.